AC Variety takes pride in showcasing the stories that the big networks have no interest in telling. This is one of those stories.
Wanted to honor our veterans, and it is a Made in America T-shirt. That's what we wanted to do for everyone that served our country. Because without them, we wouldn't be free.
No, and not enough people realize that. And folks, you just came in on the middle of a conversation, a very good conversation with Debbie here, an RN.
Yes, an RN.
Over at St. Mary's, but let's everybody. Okay, anyhow, they've got every size imaginable here of these T-shirts that she was so proudly showing, and rightfully so. They're for Vietnam veterans.
Yes.
Correct. And what was the idea, the outreach with this? How did this all come about to make these T-shirts and get them out here and say thank you with them?
Every year, the Friendship Festival wants to honor our veterans.
Yes.
And we've done this every year, but the last 2 years, we wanted to blow up our celebration and to just make sure that the country here in Kankakee County realizes what our veterans have sacrificed for us.
I agree with you, and that can never be said too often, because too often people have a tendency to forget, and not to take away from your thunder what you're trying to say, but we take for granted liberties and freedoms we have. They came at a price.
They did.
And Debbie, I'm sure you'll agree.
They did. Yes, you know. I do agree.
So anyhow, we saw you out here. Wanted to come up and say hi, kind of tell us about what's going on today.
Yes.
Honored to talk to you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And thank everybody that's here.
You bet. Yes. Thank you, veterans.
You're welcome. Yes.
Okay, as we're walking through the area where the veterans have assembled, there's a lot of displays. There's just so much to see, you don't know where to start, but we're coming across a couple of tables here. We're going to find out from this young lady kind of what's going on. In your name?
Lori Sear.
Lori, you got a bunch of cool stuff on the table. What's going on?
Well, I work for the Village of Bourbonnais, and we're working with the Bourbonnais Historical Society to raise money to rebuild the log cabin schoolhouse.
Wow. Okay.
5 years ago, we found the schoolhouse that was inside of the Marcotte House. It was on the corner of Coyne and South Main Street.
You actually found the architect?
The walls were inside of it. So we had a specialist come, and they dismantled the logs. And so we're in the process of raising money to rebuild the log schoolhouse next to the Laterno home.
Well, that is an incredible find. First of all, my hat's off to you guys for, and then capitalizing on the find. What is it going to take to make this project happen?
We've raised about $40,000 already, and our goal is $120,000.
Okay.
So what that'll do is it'll create a second museum over on the Bourbonnais campus for kids to see what school was like in the 1830s.
I was just going to ask you to date me the log cabin.
1836.
1830s?
It's a 20 by 20 schoolhouse.
Okay.
All it had was a little potbelly stove for heat, so in the summertime it was as hot as it was going to be outside.
Yes.
So it gave that idea that back then school was a privilege and not everyone got to go.
You know, well put too. You hear that, students at home? Actually, you're in AC right now, you know, with the good lighting and everything else.
Absolutely.
Imagine what the lighting was like in your school class.
Well, there was no electricity. So
exactly.
So if there was no light coming in from the windows, there was no light inside of the room.
Okay, so we're talking kerosene and candles, right? Or?
Yeah, there were little candles at every one of their desks, and they used chalkboards, and they sat at a plank board sitting on a bench.
Wow. Again, you hear that, kids? No iPads. I'm pretty sure there was no phones.
No, their iPad was literally a handheld chalkboard. That's it.
There you go. This, you know, if you bring this all back to period classroom, down to those items you just mentioned, there's going to be people all over the Midwest wanting to see this.
Absolutely, that's the goal.
My hat is off to you on this project, your team, the efforts you're putting forth, and I'm glad we talked to you because this is a very special thing that not everybody can do.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We couldn't just let the house go away.
Absolutely. And I'm getting a vibe here, folks. I'm going to call this a labor of love.
Absolutely.
So, you got me on that?
So we're raising money right now. We're selling Lincoln logs for $5 a piece.
Old school Lincoln
And that's
logs.
our little way of just raising money one log at a time.
Okay. Well, at this point, we want to wish you the best of luck on this venture. Hopefully, we will come back periodically and see how this as this project goes forward in the next year, 2 years. come back and see you and kind of, maybe we'll come back for a grand opening. Who knows?
That would be wonderful.
Okay, I'm going to grab a hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We got more coming. Okay, as we're going through the Veterans pop-up tent here, Honor Flight Chicago, we just stumbled on them. I don't know what to say. The program is wonderful. I'm going to let them speak about it. We're going to let it go right now. And who do we have here, sir?
My name's Frank Howenchild.
Frank, and your team member here?
Kelly Kircher.
Kelly and?
Jody Deal.
Jody. Okay, what's happening today at this table? And then give us a quick overview of Honor Flight Chicago.
Okay, today we're here to introduce our services to veterans who have participated in World War II, Korea War, and Vietnam War. Honor Flight takes donations. We're a 501c3 corporation.
Okay.
Totally donations on that, but we take our veterans and fly them to Washington, D.C. for the day. At that point, they get to go to the World War II Museum, Korea War Memorial, Vietnam Wall, and they're entertained very nicely during the day. I don't want to say a lot because it gives it away.
Yeah, I understand, and I hope this doesn't give too much away, and I really think this is a cool part of it. If they still do it on the airplane, they actually have a mail call. Is that still?
Yes, they do. So
that is, to me, that's awesome, and it's very heart-rendering because of the information that's in each individual's packet.
Yes, it's a very big deal for the veterans, and oftentimes people come back and say they're just teary-eyed when they get the letters.
That's why I didn't want to get into it, because I'm a softie too. We'd have everybody here all of a sudden. Anyhow, I'm going to go to the ladies real fast. How's the table this been received and represented today? People come up and talk to you. Kind of what's the feeling?
It's a good spirit here. Most people have heard of Honor Flight Chicago,
Right.
so they're very interested in getting some applications, getting those filled out, hopefully getting those submitted so we can get more of our veterans.
Absolutely.
To give them a day of honor.
And a quick question, is Southwest Airlines still involved with this?
Yes, it is.
Okay, excellent. So, we're going to sum up here real fast, but if you know someone, as a matter of fact, I'll let you say that. How would someone that you have a family, a loved one that was a veteran,
Yep.
and some of the declared and undeclared wars that have taken place, what do they do to get a hold of Honor Flight?
Well, they can always contact Honor Flight Chicago by looking them up by a Google search.
There you go.
We have Honor Flight Chicago website, specific website for our branch on that. And by the way, Chicago Honor Flight is the biggest hub that flies veterans in the country.
I can believe that.
Little plug for Honor Flight. But website, phone numbers, reach out to us, get your applications in, and put you on the list, and hopefully we'll get you on board.
Okay, and at that, I want to thank all of you for your time, stepping up to the mic. We kind of moved you around because of the sunlight and everything else, but we appreciate the information and the time you spent with us. And best of luck today getting this message out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bruce Greenlee. I'm a trustee here in the village, but more importantly today, I'm a committee member for the Veterans Freedom Side. You'll hear more about that later. So first of all, it's my privilege to introduce to you the band that you've already listened to, the Frankfurt brass band. I like this band because sometimes they let me play also. They are directed by Mr. Michael Warnick. And they are sponsored today by King Music. This band has kind of a connection to the military as well. When our honor flight veterans return from Washington, D.C., many times at Midway Airport, this is the band that is there to greet them. And it's a wonderful experience. I think we have a recent honor flight person here today who just a couple weeks ago made the trip. Where's Mr. Stanky? There he is. We have a couple more here too that I don't even know their names. We have Mr. Olenchak who was there as well. So at this time in the program, we will have the posting of the colors led by the Kankakee County Veterans Council, we'll call it. It's a group of all the organizations. They will post the colors and say the pledge.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This side is Mr. Bob Kirouac from Bourbonnais, and sing our national anthem, accompanied by the brass band.
So can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare that was bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, sailors, that star-spangled banner yet wave. For the land
Thank you, Bob. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And most importantly, thank you for your service. The Bourbonnais Friendship Festival will forever be grateful to our veterans and their families. Although he's humble and wants no recognition, I would like to say how thankful I am to my father, Rory Serafini, for selflessly putting his heart and soul into this amazing event. Together as a village and a united family, we honor each and every one of you every single day. The best way to truly describe what you have done for us and for our country is to say you have saved our country, and you, my friends, have saved our freedom. With all my heart, we thank you. Our guest speaker today is United States Army Sergeant Alan Lynch. Sergeant Lynch received the Medal of Honor for heroic actions above and beyond the call of duty in Vietnam. Sergeant Lynch is a brave man, a hero. There is no doubt about that. He saved many lives on the battlefield. In addition to this, he's a kind man, a father, and a grandfather. December 15th, 1967 changed his life and many others' lives forever. After he left the military, he started a foundation to help veterans and their families through tough times. Last year, his foundation gave out over $125,000 in grants. Over 50 years later, this man continues to save lives. I'm honored to introduce Sergeant Alan Lynch.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful day, and it's not raining. I don't know how to act. I didn't have to run from my car. I didn't have to worry about thunderstorms. I don't know. What do we do now? I was building a boat. I called it the Ark. But it's great to be here. This is such a beautiful day, and to be around my fellow veterans from all wars. I think we've got World War II, Korea, Vietnam, War on Terror, Gulf War, everybody's here. All of our brothers and sisters, everyone who served. You know, our country owes a great debt to us, and you've all heard it. If you're a veteran, you've probably heard this 1,000 times. Thank you for what you've done. But consider what we have done. Consider what we who serve in the armed forces have done. We have served in the roughest times our country has ever known. Coming out of the Great Depression, our fathers fought in World War II. I often laugh at when people were referring the crash of 2008 as like the Great Depression. They have no clue of what the Great Depression was really like. After the Great Depression, we had the Korean War. And a lot of those that served already in World War II, and a lot of those that thought war was done, went over to that country and fought not for empire, but for democracy, so that the people of South Korea could live in freedom, and they do. It's often called the Forgotten War, because they came home not to the recognition that their brothers that fought in World War II did. They came home alone, many of them, just like we in Vietnam did. They came home alone. They went back to work and tried to pick up their lives. And then along came the Cold War, where we all lived in fear of nuclear annihilation, and men and women served in the armed forces along places like the DMZ in Korea, along the border of East Germany. And we protected our country from communist aggression throughout the world. And then came Vietnam.
Then came Vietnam, and it ripped this country apart because for a moment we started to believe politicians who did not have our best interest at heart. Much of what we did in Vietnam was thankless. We came home to a country that didn't want us, that was embarrassed by us, and a lot of our fellow veterans told us to shut up and sit in the corner until we earned our way in. And we Vietnam veterans, we vowed that never again would one generation of veterans desert another. And we haven't. And we have not. You look behind all the welcome home parades that we had in the 80s, in the 90s, especially in the 90s at the end of the Gulf War, and on into right now today. You scratch an organization, you're going to find a Vietnam veteran involved in it. Friendship Festival. How many veterans are involved in Friendship Festival right here? Let me see your hands, just see. Yeah, here we are. And now we have our sons and our grandsons fighting in the war on terror. And we are doing everything we can to help these veterans get the things that they deserve. As a result of what we have done in the Vietnam veteran community, we now have judicial review of VA claims. Never had that before. Now we can take a claim to the courts. And that has brought in millions of dollars in compensation to veterans who otherwise would have been denied. But there's more. We have made sure that the VA hospital system is ready for this new generation of veterans. We don't go softly into that dark night and just bow our heads and go along with whatever the doctor says anymore. We now have advocacy within the VA healthcare system. And we are getting a lot better care, I know. When I started with the VA in 1970, VA healthcare was abysmal. Now, it is second to none. You can get better treatment in some VA hospitals than you can get in private industry. And that's saying something. But there's more than that. We've got a new generation of veterans that are leaders. They're not coming home and just sitting around collecting their paychecks. They're actually out there not only working, but working for veterans. I had the great honor and privilege to do a Wounded Warrior ride. Tongue's getting tied up. About 2 years ago. And I went to ride with these young men and women, double amputees, some of them. In fact, I'm not a bad bicycle rider, and I was passed by a guy with no legs who was paddling his bike like this. And he passed me by and he called me a cupcake. I wasn't a cupcake, I was just going slower than him and a few others. The guts and determination that these younger veterans have is something that we all can look up to. They don't know the meaning of the word quit. And we should be very proud of them. Very proud. I want to thank all of you guys that have served and ladies that are serving now and have served in the recent past in this war on terror. And again, our country is starting to get complacent. They're getting complacent. There hasn't been a terrorist attack here. And so a lot of our veterans that are coming home, they get the cursory, thanks for your service, and little else. And we've got to change that. See, we owe the men and women that serve our country every single day. Without them, we are only one generation away. One. That's one generation away from losing this country. And there are people right now in America, in political office, who have sworn allegiance to the Constitution, who want to take away your free speech, who want to take away your right to assemble, who want to take away your freedom of religion. We're only one generation away from losing all of our freedoms. The day we have one generation of veteran that says, not worth fighting for, I don't want to do it. I'd rather go to Canada. We're going to lose. our nation, the nation that our friends and relatives and our buddies have fought and died for. We still have work to do. All of us who have served, we cannot lay down that torch. We've got to get into our schools more. We've got to teach our grandkids and our children about the Constitution of the United States. They're not getting it in school. They've got to learn what makes America great. We can't let politicians ruin this country like they have. If they're not going to do their job, they need to leave. I don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. They need to go. No more can we have these politicians getting rich off of our tax dollars. No more. So many congressmen and women and so many senators and so many state reps, they go in like us and they come out driving Cadillacs. That can't be allowed to continue. We've got to take back control of our country, and who better than we, the people of the United States of America. And it's in places like this that we can do it. We can get together and we can talk about what needs to be done. We're all veterans. We all know how to do an operation. Let's plan it and go. Let's get her done. This is our country. It's time we take it back. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Lynch. Now I'd like to introduce our MIA POW table and our Gold Star families. Today, we are honored to have Gold Star families here with us. God bless all of you. Jimmy O'Neill, Army, is represented today by his brothers Sam, Carl, and Willie. Mitch Goy, Navy. His stepfather is here with us today. Joe Stevenson, Marines. His mother and father, Barb and Joe, are here with us today, along with my grandma, Muffy Stamper. Sylvester Dendrachek, Army. His wife, Edna Richardson, and Peggy Gold are here today with us. Captain Ryan Beaupre, Marines. Representing Ryan Beaupre is the Captain Ryan Beaupre Memorial Chapter of the Marine Veterans Motorcycle Club. And because we don't want any Gold Star family to be missed, would you please raise your hand if your family was not recognized? Please stand if able and give all these Gold Star families joining us today a round of applause. They all deserve special recognition. Thank you.
At this time, I would like Mr. Lynch to please come Sergeant Lynch. Glad to have you back. You know, he didn't talk about too much what he did to earn the Medal of Honor. But when I read his citation, my word, I think he crossed 60 or 70 meters of ground to one by one carry wounded soldiers back to safety. That's incredible. The wounded soldiers might be represented by our own Barry Barron, who's here today. He might have brought these injured soldiers to a helicopter where they could be flown to safety. We have a helicopter pilot, Mr. John Flynn. Please stand. So a few blocks from here, like if you're going to go to the Perry Farm later and look at the wall, on the way there you will see the Veteran Freedom Sign. And I'm a proud member of that committee, and so is Mr. Flynn. And normally we scroll the names of veterans one after another. But not today. There's only one name. And that's the name of Sergeant Lynch. I hope you get a chance to see him. So the Freedom Sign Committee has a plaque to present here today to Mr. Lynch for his heroism and his love of our country. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, we lift up our sailors, soldiers, airmen, Marines, and Guardsmen into your loving care. Protect our nation from all that is evil. Guide our way through these difficult times. Amen.
There's no words to express how grateful I am to Sergeant Lynch, to everybody here, our veterans, their families, their friends, their caregivers. Without the caregivers, I mean, thank you guys for taking care of our veterans. It means so much. There's so many people here that have helped me out. Too many to name, and you don't want to be named. You do it because it's the right thing to do. I have to say thank you to my daughter, though. I really do. Without her, this wouldn't have happened. I really appreciate everything she's done. I look around here and I see a lot of my old buddies. I retired from the Veterans Home in Manteno. I grew up in the area. So many of these guys, you know, you're my friends, your family. I love you. There's 3 young faces that I see in this crowd today. I see them over at the wall. Don't forget to stop by and see the wall. I see these 3 young men at the wall. They were helping veterans. They're standing in the sun, answering questions, looking for names on the wall, and paying tribute to the fallen soldiers. One of them is my hero, my son. Sergeant Joe Serafini, Marine Corps. He was in the Marine Corps twice. Both times they sent him to Iraq. Another young man that I seen there, Jack Ryan.
Jack's over there in the corner. Jack is a staff sergeant, another Marine. Jack has spent a third of his life defending this country. Jack was in Force Recon, MARSOC, and Jack was one of the first Marines to become the new group of Marine Raiders. God bless you, Jack. The other young man, I think you know him, he's a very quiet man, very humble man. Every time I went to the wall, and I was there just about every day, he was there in the sun, helping people, talking to people, reflecting. Good friend of mine, Barry Barron. Barry? Let's stand up for Barry. Let's stand up for Barry. Thank you all for everything. Thank God we have the Mantino Veterans Home in our backyard, where we can keep an eye on our brothers and our sisters. Fantastic people. Commonwealth Credit Union was a cash contributor. They donated to help put this on. The dental group of Bourbonnais as well, they're here today. Thank you very much. The Lindman family from McDonald's has donated food. Little Caesars has donated pizzas. We've got sandwiches from Jimmy John's. We've got pulled pork from Jimmy Joe's. We've got fried chicken and muscatoli from Coyote Canyon. So it's time we get some grub going, enjoy yourself, and thank you all for everything you've done. You are Americans. Thank you.